Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something powerful, something life-changing, how to build your empire with low investment. Too often, people believe you need millions of dollars, massive investors, or a family fortune to create something extraordinary. That's simply not true. Some of the greatest businesses in the world started with nothing more than a vision, grit, and the willingness to bet on themselves. The first truth you must embrace is this: mindset over money. If you don't believe in your vision when it's small, no one will believe in it when it's big. Your empire begins with how you see yourself, how you carry your ideas, and how disciplined you are in execution. People follow leaders who have clarity, not leaders who have endless cash. The second step is simple but often overlooked. Start small, scale smart. You don't need a huge office, expensive branding, or a fleet of employees. What you need is focus. Take one skill, one product, or one service and refine it until it's irresistible. Master the art of doing a lot with a little. The smartest entrepreneurs know how to stretch every dollar and convert it into momentum. Next, understand this: relationships are capital. Your network is worth more than any investment account. Build trust, provide value, and surround yourself with people who are moving in the same direction. A strong partnership can open doors that no amount of money can buy. Collaboration is the new currency. And then we come to one of the most powerful tools in our era: digital leverage. The internet has removed barriers that once kept empires locked away for the wealthy. Social media, e-commerce, freelancing platforms, and AI tools can scale your business globally from your living room. Your phone can be your office, your marketing team, and your sales funnel, all at a fraction of the cost. Finally, never forget, reinvest relentlessly. The money you make is not for instant gratification, it's for fuel. Every dollar should be multiplied into your future. Delay unnecessary comfort. Reinvest into your skills, your systems, and your business until your empire begins to outgrow you. Ladies and gentlemen, an empire is not about starting with millions. It's about multiplying the little you have into the greatness you envision. You don't need massive resources, you need resourcefulness. You don't need an inheritance, you need intention, and you don't need luck. You need leadership, so take the first step. Start with what you have, build, grow, reinvest, and lead with vision, because the truth is, empires are not bought, they are built. And you, right now, have everything you need to start building yours. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to build an empire with low investment, you must first understand that the foundation of everything is not money. It is mindset. Money is simply a tool, a resource, but it is not the driver. The driver is how you think, how you see opportunities, and how you respond when challenges stand in front of you. People often look at successful entrepreneurs and assume that they had more money, better connections, or lucky breaks. But the truth is, most of them started with almost nothing. What separated them from everyone else was not the size of their wallet, but the strength of their mind. When you decide to build an empire, the first investment you make is in yourself. Your mindset determines whether you see scarcity or possibility. A person with the right mindset can take $1 and turn it into 10, then into 100, and eventually into 1,000. But a person with the wrong mindset could take 10,000 and lose it all because they never learned to think like a builder, like a creator, like a leader. This is why mindset will always outweigh money. Think about it. The marketplace is filled with people who had capital but no vision. They had resources but no resilience. They had investors but no innovation. And what happened? Their businesses failed, their dreams collapsed, and they went back to square one. On the other hand, look at the entrepreneurs who started with very little. They worked from their bedrooms, their garages, or tiny coffee shops with free Wi-Fi. They built something out of nothing because their mindset allowed them to see opportunities that others were blind to. If you want to build with low investment, you must adopt the mindset of resourcefulness. Instead of saying, "I don't have enough money," you ask, "What can I do with what I have right now?" Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, you create progress with imperfect tools. That mindset turns obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. It keeps you moving when others quit. Another critical part of mindset is discipline. Money can buy comfort, but only mindset builds consistency. When you commit to the long game, to doing small things every single day, you build habits that money cannot purchase. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum eventually creates wealth. That's why some people who win the lottery lose it all in a few years. They had money but no mindset. And without mindset, money slips through your fingers. Most importantly, your mindset is what inspires others to follow you. When people see belief, conviction, and vision in your words and actions, they want to be part of your journey. And here's the secret. Sometimes the investment you need won't even come from your pocket. It will come from others who see your passion and choose to support you. That only happens when you lead with mindset. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember this truth. Your empire begins in your mind long before it shows up in your bank account. Money will come and go, but mindset is the seed that makes growth inevitable. When you think like a builder, you will always find a way to build. Ladies and gentlemen, when you think about building an empire, your imagination may immediately run towards skyscrapers, global offices, or massive operations. But the truth is, every empire worth remembering started small. The key is not in how big you begin, but in how smartly you grow. Starting small is not a disadvantage. It is an advantage if you know how to scale with strategy. Most people make the mistake of waiting until they have all the money, all the resources, and all the perfect conditions before they begin. They tell themselves they'll launch when they have a bigger budget, or when the timing is right, or when investors finally back them. And because they keep waiting, they never start. The smartest entrepreneurs flip this mindset upside down. They start with what they have, however small, and they move forward. They understand that progress is not about perfection, it's about momentum. When you start small, you're forced to pay attention to what truly matters. You can't waste resources on things that don't bring results. You can't afford distractions or unnecessary overheads. Every action, every dollar, every effort has to count. That kind of focus builds strong foundations, and those foundations are what allow you to scale with stability. Think about it. If you can't manage a small operation with clarity and discipline, how will you ever manage a large one with hundreds of moving parts? Scaling smart means being intentional about growth. It's not about chasing every opportunity or expanding too quickly. It's about refining your product or service until it becomes exceptional. You don't need 100 offers to build an empire. You need one offer that truly solves a problem better than anyone else. Once you nail that, scaling becomes natural. You don't have to force growth. Demand will pull you upward. Another part of scaling smart is learning to systemize early. Many people think systems are only for big companies, but in reality, they are what makes small companies big. When you document your processes, when you build routines, when you create efficient workflows, you're preparing your business to handle more without chaos. This allows you to grow without losing quality, without burning out, and without losing sight of your vision. Let me also remind you that scaling smart requires patience. Overnight success is a myth. What looks like sudden growth from the outside is often years of discipline building on the inside. Starting small teaches you resilience, teaches you creativity, and teaches you to stretch every resource. And once you have learned those lessons, you're equipped to scale in a way that is sustainable and lasting. So when you think about building your empire with low investment, don't be discouraged by the size of your beginning. Embrace it. Use it as training. Build lean, build efficient, and build smart. Because the truth is, it's not how much you start with that matters. It's how wisely you grow what you have. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about building an empire with low investment, one of the greatest truths you must understand is that relationships are capital. Money is limited, but relationships can open doors that money could never buy. The people you surround yourself with, the trust you build, and the network you create often determine how far and how fast you can grow. An empire is not built alone. It is built with people, through people, and for people. Think about every opportunity in your life so far. The best jobs, the best collaborations, even the best lessons you've learned often came through another person. Someone believed in you, introduced you, recommended you, or opened a door that you could not open on your own. That's the power of relationships. When you don't have deep pockets, you can lean on the wealth of connections, the strength of your reputation, and the trust you've cultivated. The mistake many entrepreneurs make is thinking that networking is about collecting business cards or adding random contacts online. That is surface level. True relationship capital is built on value exchange. It's not about asking, what can this person give me, but instead asking, what can I contribute to this person's vision? When you become someone who adds value, people naturally want to pour back into you. And sometimes the resources, opportunities, and partnerships that come from those relationships are far greater than what cash could buy. Building relationships also accelerates learning. You don't need to make every mistake yourself if you are close to people who have already traveled the road you're on. A mentor, a partner, or even a peer can share wisdom that saves you years of trial and error. That kind of guidance is priceless. It collapses time and allows you to achieve in months what could have taken you years alone. Another powerful truth is that relationships compound. Just like money can earn interest, relationships build momentum. The more you give, the more you connect, the more you show up authentically, the stronger your network becomes. One introduction leads to another. One recommendation creates a chain of doors opening. Before long, you find yourself in rooms that money could never have bought your way into. But let me also be clear, relationship capital requires integrity. Trust is the currency. If people know you as someone who delivers, someone who is consistent, someone who keeps their word, they will invest in you over and over again. But if you burn bridges, chase quick wins, or take advantage of others, you bankrupt yourself relationally, and that can be harder to recover from than losing money. So when you're building with low investment, remember that your true wealth is in people. Build your network with intention, add value wherever you go, and nurture those connections with respect. Because at the end of the day, money can get you started, but relationships will keep you growing. And when relationships become your capital, there is no limit to how far your empire can rise. One of the greatest advantages of our time is that building an empire no longer requires massive upfront capital. The reason is simple. We have access to digital tools that allow us to create, market, sell, and scale at a fraction of the cost it once required. Technology has leveled the playing field. What used to take entire teams, huge offices, and massive advertising budgets can now be done from your laptop or even from your phone. If you want to build with low investment, you must learn to fully leverage the digital tools that are right at your fingertips. Think about it. Social media has become a global marketplace where attention is currency. With little to no cost, you can build a brand, attract an audience, and connect with people all over the world. 10 or 20 years ago, reaching that many people would have required TV ads, billboards, or massive public relations campaigns. Today, you can record a video, post it online, and reach thousands within minutes. That is leverage, that is power, and it doesn't require millions of dollars. It requires creativity, consistency, and strategy. But social media is only one piece of the puzzle. We also have tools that automate tasks that once drained time and money. Scheduling platforms, email marketing systems, design apps, and AI assistants allow you to operate like a company 10 times your size. You don't need to hire a full marketing team when a few digital tools can help you create campaigns, design graphics, write content, and analyze data instantly. The key is not to do everything manually, but to let technology multiply your efficiency. Another incredible advantage is e-commerce. Anyone with a product or service can set up an online store in hours and begin selling globally. You don't need a storefront, employees, or massive inventory. You can start small, test your market, and grow steadily, all with minimal investment. That is something generations before us could only dream of. Digital tools also give you access to knowledge. Courses, podcasts, online mentors, and communities mean you can learn skills that used to require expensive degrees or exclusive access. If you are hungry enough, you can find the information you need to grow your empire without draining your bank account. Knowledge, when applied, becomes an investment that pays forever. Of course, leveraging digital tools is not about chasing every shiny new app. It's about using the right tools for your vision and mastering them. The tools themselves don't create success. You do, but when paired with discipline and strategy, they allow you to move faster, reach further, and build smarter than ever before. So if you want to build your empire with low investment, embrace technology. Use your phone as your office, your laptop as your headquarters, and the internet as your marketplace. Because the truth is, we are living in an era where the cost of entry is lower than ever, and those who leverage digital tools will always outpace those who don't. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest mistakes people make when they start earning money from their business is that they begin spending it too soon. They upgrade their lifestyle, they chase comfort, and they forget that the purpose of the first dollars earned is not to reward yourself, but to multiply your vision. If you want to build an empire with low investment, you must learn the discipline of reinvesting relentlessly. Every dollar you make in the early stages is not profit, it is fuel, and the more you fuel your business, the faster it grows. Think of your business like a fire. At first, it is just a spark, fragile and uncertain. If you take the little wood you've gathered and burn it for warmth, the fire dies quickly. But if you keep feeding it, if you keep adding to it, eventually that small flame becomes a roaring blaze that can light up an entire city. That's what reinvestment does. It takes the small wins and compounds them into lasting power. When you reinvest, you are making a statement about your priorities. You are saying, I believe in the long game more than short-term gratification. That means instead of buying new gadgets, you invest in better systems. Instead of celebrating with luxuries, you invest in marketing. Instead of padding your lifestyle, you invest in developing your skills or hiring someone who can take your business further. This is the difference between businesses that fizzle out and empires that stand the test of time. The truth is, many people fail not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack patience. They take the first taste of success and use it to create comfort instead of capacity. But comfort never builds empires, capacity does. Every time you reinvest, you are building capacity. the ability to serve more customers, to create better products, to deliver at higher quality, and to grow beyond your current level. Reinvestment is not only about money, it is also about energy and focus. Where are you putting your time? Where are you placing your attention? If you keep feeding distractions, your business starves. But if you continually pour back into the areas that create momentum, your growth becomes unstoppable. Reinvesting relentlessly means prioritizing what brings the greatest return, even when it is not glamorous. And here's the reward: when you commit to reinvestment, growth compounds. At first it feels slow, almost invisible, but over time the returns multiply. Small, consistent investments into your business stack on top of one another until you look back and realize that what was once fragile is now unshakable. That's the power of reinvestment. So when you earn your first dollar, resist the temptation to celebrate by spending it. Instead, ask yourself, how can this dollar work for me? How can it bring in 2, 5, or 10 more? Reinvest it, grow it, multiply it, because empires are not built on quick rewards. They are built on the relentless discipline of putting growth above gratification.